Alrighty, looks like we're live. Got a few people who said they were coming in. We're going to wait for everybody to show up. Hopefully they're able to make it in. Ooh, I don't think I want that up at the same time, do I? Whoa, hello. That's way behind, isn't it? Oh, look at that. All right, guys. Oh, who's the one viewer? Me? That's funny. Nah, looks like we got a couple of you guys in here. Howdy, guys. I'll be able to see your group chat. There's still a couple people who responded positively, so I'm going to wait for them as well. But we will get started here real soon. This isn't going to take a long time. It's a pretty good one. A lot of people have responded about being able to negotiate with their suppliers, and I need to learn to look at that boy, the camera. Anyway, so a lot of people have been having challenges getting minimum order quantities or getting price negotiations. And I haven't really experienced too many of those problems up front. And so I thought I'd share some of the things that I've been doing to make that happen. Generally, what I've found, well, first of all, I'll introduce myself in that way. Some of you who don't know me will be able to get to know me. I'm Alan Basinger. I own several companies, Gadget Deals Wholesale Inc., or GDW, which a lot of you guys know is one of my companies. It's a FBA inspection fulfillment center. We do branding, private labeling, and help people in general. And then I'm also an Amazon seller. I do both FBM, Fulfilled by Merchant, and FBA selling. Currently, we're about a $4.6, $4.8 million a year company. And we're growing all the time. And so a lot of the stuff I've learned from Will and the Jumpstart group has been extremely helpful in getting me there. And I know sometimes it can be confusing because there's a lot of moving parts. And so I try my best to help people out moving forwards. So to get things kicked off, I use a simple 4-step process. And it's really not hard at all. 4 steps are the intro email, and I actually have actual emails that I copied and pasted to text files so we can actually review them. But I'm going to go over it real quick, and then we'll go into the actual emails themselves. First, I do an introduction, and really the introduction is to do one thing, and that's to introduce myself as my employee. Remember, we never respond or begin our initial communications with our suppliers in China as the boss, because that's not how things are done there. Their customs are a little bit different. Equal people and equal status talk to each other, much like a corporation. And if you've ever worked at a big corporation, you know that generally VP level people will deal with VP level people. Your managers would do your managers, and your C-level will deal with your C-level. But you rarely have a C-level guy dealing with like an engineer or a support person or something of that type. Chinese culture is very similar. So you need to be a subordinate when you talk to them, and you need to word things in that way many times. So your intro is you as the subordinate on behalf of your boss asking for an introduction because you appreciate their company, you think that they can do good things for you, and that's kind of your initial play there. The second part, and I have some notes, so I'm going to look down every once in a while. Excuse me. The second part is going to be a request for your test order. This is after you've gotten your samples, and I do things a hair differently, and it's worked very well. I learned this from Igloo Products Corporation, which, if you guys know, make the Igloo coolers, Penguin coolers. They've been around for a long time. $240 million company right here in Houston. And I had a company that did all of their IT work and all their maintenance. And they did a lot of manufacturing in China. And one of the things I learned from them was that they had challenges all the time with production quality control. And they were eating up a lot of money, sending people back and forth, trying to hire locals to do inspection. Didn't work very well. So one of the things that they started doing was having samples express mailed or air freighted to them during the production run multiple times. Their production runs were huge because they sell in Walmarts and all the big chains. So they would have a long production run, and generally all winter and all fall, they're producing just to supply the summer's demand. So that's kind of different because I'm going to follow a similar process that they do, where I'm initially going to only get a couple of samples. Then I'm going to go for a test order. Then after my test order, or during the test order roughly, I'm going to be looking at their pricing, and hopefully I've gotten that information in my introduction email because I request it there. Then once I've done that, then I'm going to move to the next phase, where we negotiate prices on larger volumes. We start talking serious business now. We're talking about what our plans are, what we're going to do, the volumes that we're going to ask for, things of that type. And then the fifth and final piece would be a close. So if you guys have any questions on that part so far, what I'd like to do is jump into the introduction email. And it should look very familiar to most of you. So let me do a little screen share here, and we'll do it. That should share it. Make sure that you guys can see it. For me, it looks like it is there. All right, can you read it? Let me know if you guys can read it. You can type in the chat box, do a few other things, but I just want to make sure you guys can read the initial email. And this is an actual email for an actual product that I ordered off of Alibaba. I'm actually going to show you the product because, hey, why not? I think it'll give you a lot more understanding, I guess, of how things work. So you can see initially it's, my name's Alan from Gadget Deals Wholesale, so I use my company name, and I tell them that my boss asked me to contact them. This is almost verbatim from the Jumpstart Group initial email. And you can see there's a little bit of difference, but not much. I tell them that I'm looking to start importing their products, and then where the blanks are, I'm inserting the product that I'm interested in. So in this particular case, it's a back brace, right? So I'm starting to look to import these back brace products. Then I want to complement them. A lot of Chinese culture has to do with relationships, and there's a great documentary about the crocodile and Ganges. It's the Jack Ma story. I know Will and them promoted it. I actually own it. Jack Ma's an amazing leader, and he's done a great job, but they kind of explain a little bit about trust and the Chinese culture. And if you can imagine a dartboard, the center or the bullseye would be friends and family. The ultimate trust in Chinese culture is family, right in the middle. The next ring around the dartboard would be friends. And so if they're going to trust anybody other than their family, it's going to be their friends. The third ring on the outside is acquaintances, and there's some trust factor with acquaintances because they have a relationship. And then everybody else is not trusted at all. So you want to start developing the relationship very early because it helps you to become part of that outer ring, right? The acquaintances. And hopefully over time you can move into the friendship ring. And you're never going to be family unless you marry someone, right? Anyway, you can see in the email we ask them to send over pricing, shipping, and policy information. And I'm pretty much will stay on top of them about this because I want to know their product line. I want to know their price breaks for quantities. I want to know a lot of those things because a lot of times on Alibaba they're going to give you. They're not going to show you price breaks for large volume purchases. And if you really start doing something on Amazon, you really start selling a good product, you're going to start ordering way over their MOQs pretty darn quick. So I asked for that right off the bat. And then I want a sample order. And you can see all I ask for is like 2 to 5 of the product shipped from their factory to my warehouse via express. And I'm going to let them decide. I want them to use their shipping express door to door. Most of them use DHL. A couple of them use UPS, and I've had a couple of FedExes. But after about 50 samples, I would say that the majority is DHL Express door to door. It's fast. It's simple. It's a little expensive, but we're not trying to make money here. What we want to do is judge the quality of the samples and also start developing that relationship and look at how the company treats us. Is it professional? Do they package it well? Does it come in on time? Does it take them a month to get it to you, or do they get it to you in a couple of days? A lot of these things are factors that help me determine whether or not I'm going to work with that company. Then I let them know that if the samples are up to my customers' expectation and quality, that we can begin ordering a few thousand a month. And I don't feel that that's a lie because I know that I'll do more than that. I sell more than that in many of the good products that we sell today. And if they're not good products, it means that they didn't fit that particular request. They didn't fit my quality expectations. They failed when we did some test sample sharing and things of that type. So anyway, there is email number 1. Pretty good explanation, I hope. If you guys have any questions on that, feel free to ding me on it. I'll give you guys a chance to ask some questions. I'm going to have a quick drink. Give me a Coke here. I know I talk pretty fast. And again, hopefully you guys can keep up. So next, we're going to go into the second email. Now, this was actually the first email that I sent this company. And I don't want to show you the company or the stuff because we're going to go over MOQs and stuff on this particular product. And we're going to kind of show you where I went with it. So we're going to go to the second email now, right? This is my sample email, okay? And this is where I order my initial sample order after I've gotten my samples. I call this a test order. So I'm going to try to quit using the word sample. I do the sample order up front in the first email. The second communication after I've received my samples is going to be my test order. And a test order is where I'm really going to try to not get the MOQs, get 50 or 100 units or whatever I feel comfortable with. Depends on the product price, things of that type. You can see right off the bat, I'm using his name now because I know his name. He's responded to me. The sales rep or manufacturer's rep has responded to me. I know his name. So I'm going to use his name. You notice I asked him how his vacation time was. In this particular case, this sample order happened right before the the Chinese New Year celebration. And so they were going to be gone for a long time. So they sent me the samples and I was able to review them for a while. And Philip let me know that they were going on vacation for the Chinese New Year. So you can see that I asked him how it was, did a little bit of the things that you would do with anybody who is your friend. Just ask them nice questions and do whatever. And then I let him know right away that the samples came out well, and we were looking to move forwards with designing packaging and placing larger orders, right? And I reminded him that I wanted to look at additional products other than the first samples because he hadn't sent me a their book of products. Basically, a manufacturer has a book, and it will list all the products that they manufacture. Most of them are rarely single product manufacturing companies. They will, if it's a textile company, it's going to manufacture textiles, and generally they'll have a product line. And I want to see the whole product line. There's good reason for that, because if they have a good product line and I have good success with the first product, it's a whole lot easier to deal with the same manufacturer again and move that product line forwards. So keep adding from their product line, keep ordering more from that same manufacturer, building that relationship goes a long way. So I'm asking them for that, as you can see. Anyway, and then I wanted to start asking them some questions, and these questions help me to determine where I'm going to go. Do they have instruction manuals in English? That's a big thing. Most of them don't, or if they do, the quality is really bad. It's Chinglish. It's broken up really, really poorly. I found it better to do my own, but every once in a while you get a surprise, and you always want to ask. Also, does the manufacturer have photos? And initially, I think it's good. You can use those for your samples to throw up on eBay and test your market and things like that. Long term, you don't want to keep using theirs because everybody else who orders that product and sells against you, most of them can't really do a good product design, don't use good photographers, and so what they end up with is just those photos, and everybody knows what it is, who it is, where it came from, and I don't do that for very long at all. Anyway, we looked at it. You can see there I talked about the nice boxes and very good instructions for US, because US buyers appreciate that more. They really, you get poor feedback. You get a lot of pushback when the item comes in a plastic bag and it doesn't have good instructions on how to use it, or the instructions are in Chinese on a folded piece of paper with black print, and it's just low quality. I try to upscale quality everything I do because I want the customer's first expectation to be solid. And then I let them know that my boss authorized me to place an order, and I wanted to discuss those matters prior to placing the order so that I knew what I needed to complete the product for retail. So I'm kind of hinting at where we're going, and I'm also letting them know, hey, I'm not just ordering some of your product just to do whatever. We're gonna do boxes. We're gonna do a private label gig here. We had already made the decision that this was a good quality product. Our samples were solid. They sold out quick at a good price. We didn't have to pretend to play what the market would give it or do any 99-cent auctions or anything like that. So they were really good. But I wanted to get some samples. You can see my next line. I do need to get samples for the salespeople to promote to our retail partners. So here's where I went and ordered 25 units and started talking to them about sewn-in labels and our branding. This is my second email. You notice I'm starting to ask the questions I needed to ask to get information to see how far I'm going to be able to take this product. So hopefully that helps you guys on that part. And so I learned how to do this. Again, any questions for you guys at all, I'll bounce over to the chat box and try to move this and answer questions for you guys as we're going through it. All right, so that's my sample order authorization. That's what I call that. So I let them know that the samples came in, it was good, and this sample or test order has happened, and my boss is giving me permission to move forwards. And now we're going to go with the test order. And hopefully we'll make sure you guys can see this. Yep, looks like it's good. All right, so now here we are. This is my test order. So Philip spoke to the boss. He said he'd like to order 100 units. For the initial order, to make sure quality is as good as the pre-production samples we received, which were very good. I already have the packaging design made and logo. Once I have it, I'll send it to you for additional quote of logo and packaging. And also, he's interested in potentially carrying some of your other products once we get this first one moving. At this point in the communication, Philip had sent me their product catalog. I realized that they were a fairly good company with a deep product line. The quality on all of them looked to be very similar. He had sent me some additional samples of other products, and that we were going to, stick with them and do some things. And so, and then I thanked him and did some more communications to let him know that, I appreciated all his help and everything else. And also, if you noticed, I said, and I'm sorry if I am delayed in any way. My boss has me working with many companies and gives me a lot of responsibility, so I cannot fail him. In Chinese, if you get responsibility and someone above you trusts you, you do not fail. And so I'm kind of pointing out to him that, I'm in his position. My boss is giving me this responsibility, and I'm determined not to fail. But at the same time, I tell him that I'm working with other companies. This is direct, but kind of indirectly letting him know that, and I've done it directly, so I'll tell you that right off the bat. There are other emails where I'm just telling them straight up, hey, I'm looking at your company and 4 or 5 others. I want to make sure that I'm setting the stage for negotiating pricing later on down the road. I don't want him to think that I'm only going to work with him. I'm letting him know that I like him, I appreciate him, that what he's got is good, and that I'm moving forwards with him, and we're going through this process. But I don't want them to think that they're the only option I have in town. That's bad negotiating tactics, and I will not do that. And there's an old saying about always get 3 quotes. When you get your car fixed, you go to 3 different mechanics. When you go to the doctor and they recommend something, always get multiple opinions. Always get multiple quotes. When you're in IT, you always go to 3 different suppliers, because you want to see if they're all moving in the same direction. You get a lot of information when you get information from multiple sources, and you can look at it and make intelligent decisions. And you can also see if someone's trying to basically pull the wool over your eyes, or if someone's giving you an exceptional deal because the other people aren't. These are kind of the reason why I do that. All right, so hopefully we've covered those pieces. And again, I know I'm talking pretty fast. That's been a long week. I'm going home tomorrow, and I'm ready. But this is good information. I just want to make sure I share it with you. All right, so that's 3. We're going to go through 5 of these, and then I'm actually going to show you the product. 3. Now let's get. Okay, so now I'm going to start talking about payment terms. Remember, I'm kind of setting the stage to move things forwards, and now I'm going to talk to payment terms. Now, this is interesting because I think you'll notice in the first line after I use his name, I told them it's a shame that there's so much distrust between our companies. He had made a comment to me after my last email about challenges in the U.S. If you remember earlier documents, I told him I was going to get him the logos and the box design, so that they could validate that it was good, and also so that we could get the box design, so they could put the logo on the product, one. And I'm getting a logo on my test order of 100 units, guys. Not after, but I'm starting out with a private label product, so I'm a little ahead of the curve in some aspects. Also, I'm designing a nice box. It's not poly bagged. It's going to have instructions. I want to test it in the way that I plan on retailing it. And if I can do that, that's good. The cost difference between adding a box, a logo, and instructions is pennies, literally pennies. If you're buying, and we'll just use an example, if you're buying something that's as big as this cell phone, maybe a little bigger, your box is going to be 10 or 20 cents. Your logo costs you $5 at Fiverr. Your box design costs you $5 at Fiverr. And having it done and shipped to you is inexpensive. The only challenge is making sure that you get samples of the boxes before you approve them. and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So anyway, I had tried to send him a link to Google Drive to just share the file with him so he could download it, and China can't do that. Google and China don't get along. So I learned that lesson and found that they use something called WeTrust, which is very similar. It works very well. It's very fast, even in the US. So what I started doing was just uploading files to WeTrust and then sending them an email with a link for them to download the files from WeTrust. And, WeTransfer. WeTrust. Told you, a long day. WeTransfer. It's right there in the third line. Because I told him, you know, hey, I'm sorry for this. I don't want him to think that I distrust him just because he lives in China and their government is messed up. Guess what? I live in the United States of America, and right now our government's really messed up. So, you know, and as a people perspective, I have no challenges with the Chinese people at all. So anyway, I let him know that, told him I did it, and asked him to confirm that he got them so that we're good. He had sent me information about payment, and I basically, at this point, am starting to negotiate terms. So you can see, I think my boss wanted to know about terms. And I don't ask them what they want for terms. I kind of want to tell them what I want. So in this next paragraph, I'm explaining it to them. So what I mean is once the quote is accepted and been created, I'm going to pay you 30% down, 30% when the production run is done, and the final 40% when the product is sent to our freight forwarders. Since I use freight forwarding and I ship ocean for everything but the smallest of samples, for the pre-production samples and for really small light stuff, I'm using a freight forwarder. So we're going to expect it delivered to the docks. Once my freight forwarder takes possession, I give them the 40%. Once I pay them off in the 40%, they send you something called a bill of lading. And I know I'm going kind of deep into this, but I'm going to try to help educate you along the way. So we have negotiated, and I let them know, hey, I've negotiated payment plans like this, but I'm unaware of yours, and we wanted to make sure it's good. So we're going to get a sample, and then I'm going to repeat what it is we're looking for, because I don't want a misunderstanding. And I also have had them come back and change the quote. This is a sample. I'm asking him for terms. We're getting ready to get a document that's going to have a quote. It's called a PI, right? Production invoice, basically, or a work order here in the U.S. And so he's going to give me that. I want to make sure that I've repeated what I said. As noted earlier in our conversation, we're going to do a sample run of 100 units. Once they arrive and are checked here and found that everything is good, we're going to place another order for 500 units right away. And after receiving that order, we're going to look at ordering more every single month. Right now, my boss says he doesn't know what the monthly run rate will be, so he's only forecasting the 30-day production amounts. So I'm telling him right now, hey, you know what? We're going to get this test order of 100. If everything comes in as planned, everything's good, the boxes, the labels, everything works out, and then I'm going to put it up online and start selling it, I'm going to order another 500 right behind it, right? And then every month I'm going to continue to order more. And I'm telling them right off the bat, hey, I can't forecast what our sales are going to be, but I can tell you what our 30-day order is going to be right now. And I also know this is something for you guys if you're going to do ocean, and that is 30 days in production, 30 days in shipping, 30 days inventory in stock. Based on what I projected the sales to be, based on how fast my samples sold on eBay. I didn't sell them on Amazon. eBay's a lower market. If they can move on eBay and you're doing a good job there, you can kill it on Amazon, right? I projected that, you know, we should sell initially as we're ramping it up. We'll get those first 100 gone in 30 days. But after that, our numbers should move up into about a 500 every 30 days. That's why I predicted this. Okay, and I predicted this by looking at the market, looking at how fast they moved. I can say, okay, if I can move 5 units a day, that's 35 a week, right? That's 140 a month right there. So we know we can move 140 a month, but that's only on eBay. I'm going to put this on multiple channels, not just eBay. So I can look at it and go, okay, Amazon, in my experience, has been depending on the product, about 4 to 10 times greater volume than eBay. So if I'm selling 140 on eBay, I'm selling 500 on Amazon, easy. So we can say, you know, we may be doing 640 units a month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get that sample test order. I'm going to get that in so I can get that into Amazon pretty quick. I'll carry a little bit out of Amazon production, do fulfillment by merchant, put that on eBay, and then I'll have another 500 units that I've ordered already. So as soon as that comes in and I check it and everything's good, I'm ordering 500 more, because it's going to take them 30 days to produce it, and it's going to take another 30 days to ship. It's going to take me 60 days to get that 500. I'm probably going to blow out of that 100 before the 500 shows up, right? And the way this works is once production's done and they put that into shipping, you order another 500. So you have 500 more in production. When that, by the time that production's done and goes into shipping, the ones that are shipped have shown up and you've got them in FBA. So now you have 500 in FBA, you have 500 on the boat coming in, and then you order 500 more, because now you got 500 more in production. If you do this right, if you pay attention to the numbers and calculate it, what you see is a continuous supply of product, and you rarely have outages. I have outages, but they're for 1 or 2 days, not too frequently. Now, up in the beginning of a new product, like the first 100 or something like that, I may have an outage real quick. I know that some of my first non-labeled, non-private label products, I ordered 200 in my sample, got them into Amazon, and they were gone in the weekend. They hit Amazon Friday night, and by Sunday they were gone. They were gone. It was that fast, and it took me 30 days to get more, and I aired them in. It was terrible, and they were gone in a weekend. And then I ordered 1,000 in the next one, and they were gone in just a nutty amount of time. And so it can be challenging when you got something that just sells like crazy. But normally this strategy works very well. All right. So hopefully you guys are getting something out of that part. And now what I want to do is go over email number 5, which is our confirmation. And this is after I've gotten 100 in. I've already put them on Amazon. Things are doing well. We're measuring, oh, actually, no, I'm sorry. This is not. This is the order agreement and the agreement to terms. So Philip came back and told me basically that the terms were acceptable to them and they were good. And then he came back and said, hey, we looked at your box size and it's a little bit smaller than what we normally use, because we have different size products, different sizes, you know, small, medium, large, extra large. And we found that the largest size one doesn't fit that well, and this other box size would work better. Look at that. He's helping me. So what do? I take that information back to my box designer and I go, hey, guess what? I need you to redesign or relay this box out on this new size. He did that. I sent that back over to Philip. Done. But we were able to use the first initial run, and here was our 500 order, because the first 100 had showed up, and now it's time to order 500 pieces. I told them that the manual that they sent me wasn't very good, and we reworked it just to let them know. And I asked about the tag with our logo on it, and he showed me how they had done it for other people, and I didn't like it because it was just like everybody else had done. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted it to be a little more prevalent, and I wanted it to be a little more noticeable. Textile stuff, clothes, it's always a little tag like in the back of your shirt, and it's not noticeable. This product, and because of the way this product is, I wanted it to be actually a big logo on the outside, on the front, where people could see it. So anyway, we worked on that. And we worked on those things, so you can see in here we're talking about that. Now he's also, I'm going to wet his whistle a little bit, because we're getting our first 500, but he had told me also that they offered some new colors for the same product. And so you can see we're looking for different color materials, tags, the logos. He had told me about pink, so I mentioned the fact that he had told me that. And look, I'm talking in the third person again. You notice I don't say I, it's always we, my boss, things like that. Third person, and refer to your boss as something else. Actually, this is kind of funny because my boss's name is Chris. Not really, but actually it is on my PayPal account. I have a PayPal account that doesn't even use my name. Long story on that one, but when they get payments, if I use PayPal to make a payment, it says it comes from Chris. So that's a funny one, and it's a long story. Anyway, so you see, I'm now talking to him about ordering in pink, black, tan, talked to him about white and things like that. Looked about tag sewn into the side with our logo. You can see right here instead of the little tag that everybody else uses. And we also talked about increasing our volume and making our product unique. Okay. And then I wanted to hint on exclusive rights. They have a nice product. Their quality is good. I don't want other people buying it. I don't want other people buying it at all. I want to be exclusive to that product. So I asked him, hey, how can we do it? And can we get an exclusive rights? Because we want to sell into 5 countries, and I wanted exclusive rights for the US, the UK, Germany, Italy, France, Spain, and be able to do Amazon UK with the EU fulfillment and the Amazon US, and of course Canada. We sent them the 30% upfront balance and as ready to ship, just like you see. They agreed to my terms, and there we are, asking for him to provide the PI for 100 units in pink with the logo and the boxes. Again, I'm clarifying. Here's what we want, and I want the PI to state this is what you're going to give me. Once he provided that, I made the payment of 30% via PayPal. And also you can see here, again, developing the relationship. Thank you for your kind words. You guys make great products. We want to use your company to sell many units, and we think our cooperation will bless us all. Okay. And I also let him know that I did get his catalog, and I'm looking at adding more products as that run goes well. So that's kind of, you know, a 5-step or a little 5-email jig that I did with one product. Now let's have some fun and let's look at the actual product, because I think you guys will. Whoops. Hello, Mr. Screen Share. All right, let's look at it. You know, Hangouts on Air is cool, but I almost prefer just a live Hangout. All right, how do I get there? 1 second. This is a technical for a second. I'll figure out what I need to do. I think I can do it this way. And let's see if it popped up now. Yep, there it is. All right. Anyway, I almost prefer the regular Hangouts because you guys show up at the bottom and we can talk, and I don't know how to do that here yet. All right, here we are at Alibaba, and here's a product, Copper Fit Pro Brace. I didn't want the Copper Fit. It's a terrible low-end brand sold in Walmart. It's cheap. It's cheesy. But if they manufacture that in quantity, then they probably manufacture other items too. I don't necessarily let that. I don't like low-end quality products. I've been burned by that before. Generally, you're going to get your feedback beat up and stuff like that. But they also make higher-end products, and they'll make it the way I want. So I'm not afraid. Oops, I'm not afraid to say, hey, you know what? What's the thread count on the sample? Can you do it in this other thread count? Can you use this other kind of hook and loop fastener, or what we call Velcro? It's actually a hook and loop. I'll ask them to use that. I do my research, so I'm not afraid of research. So once I start getting into a product, I start researching how they manufacture it, what materials, things like that, because I want to be able to talk to people about it. And I don't know if it's live or if it's just shared when I go over it like this. So hopefully you guys can see my mouse moving around. All right, so minimum order quantity. Look at this one, 3,000 pieces. You don't see anywhere in any of those emails that I got 3,000 pieces. Matter of fact, I haven't even got 1,000 pieces yet. Yet I am getting them, and I'm getting them for what I consider a good price. I far exceed the profit levels, the margins, based on it, but I have an upscale product. I'm not afraid to spend $5 on a product that I can sell for $25. versus spending $1 on a product like this one and selling it for $10, kind of like they do. I think this product is under $20 at Walmart, and have something that deteriorates quickly, falls apart, and is junk. So there are 3,000 MOQs, but I never ever once had to deal with it. And none of the responses back actually wanted me to get that. They did mention it in the first email. Here's what we sell, here's what it is, here's our MOQ. And then they gave me prices based on their minimum order quantities. But I didn't, I looked at those, I used those as a reference. It works very well to reference what their MOQs are, and or I may ask them, you know, I know your minimum order is 3,000, but you know, what is the price if I start, you know, if we can move 10,000 units, because I may come back to them and kind of push them a little bit to give me the price for their MOQ on a small order. And I've actually had that work very well, especially when they know I'm looking at other manufacturers. Also, if you understand how Chinese business works, basically Chinese companies will sell their products to you at cost. If you buy their MOQs, they're going to be really close to cost. Their profit margins are razor thin. I mean, a US company just isn't going to survive. And the reason is because they get kickbacks from their government based upon what they actually ship. So once it goes on the boat and it's headed to us, they can put that in their documents that they turn into the government at the end of every year, and then the company gets a check. And most of the companies that are out there, their profit margins are based upon that check, not on anything else. So they are incentivized to produce product and get it on a boat. That's their goal, nothing else. And so it's not really expensive to move upscale, because they're not going to try to jack the prices up. They're just going to cover their costs. And so you don't want to try to beat them up on prices. Matter of fact, most of the time I don't. I'll let them know that a few people are doing it. I may ask them for prices at different levels, because when you get real high levels, the prices do move, and they have a little bit, because they're going to get better prices on their raw materials. The manufacturers buy raw materials from other companies. If they buy volumes, the raw material prices come down, they generally will pass that savings on to you. A US company, on the other hand, when their raw material prices come down, they look at that as a profit. Just check on any Wall Street company. That's generally how it works. So anyway, I don't beat them up on price. I try to get the price that they're going to give me for 3,000. Usually they're pretty good about giving it to me, whatever their MOQ is. Sometimes I can play, you know, devil's advocate on multiples and do it. And a few of them, when I decided that I didn't want the product, have come back to me later with emails going, you know, what I found is if you ignore them, if you don't respond to their emails, especially after you've gotten samples and had some discussion and you just kind of decided, nah, this ain't working for me, they'll come back to you and try to give it away. They want to move product bad, and if they think you're even close to being able to buy something, they're going to try to move the price to get it out the door. Again, why? They get a big check at the end of the year. That's their profits. They want to put it on a boat. All right, so this is kind of it. This is kind of the product. I mean, I don't know if they're actually manufacturing this particular product or if they're knocking it off. I don't want this product. It would be definitely going against somebody else's trademark and somebody else's brand. But again, they have 5 years. They got a great reputation. They have the on-site check. So they have all the goodies that I want. Hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully, you know, you guys got something out of this one. If you have any questions, I'll open it up for that. I'm going to take a quick drink, but I think we're just about done. I still don't know. One of these days I'm learning this. I'm able to do one-on-one stuff pretty well with it, but we're learning how to use it in a multiple aspect. And it's really not that it's hard to use. It's just there's a lot of features. I know a lot of the people are using Webinar Jam, which is actually just a plugin on top of this, and you kind of pay for it. So we'll see how that goes. See if we can bring up some Webinar Jam plugin. Who knows? Maybe we will. What does it say? Please re-log in to the Hangout using your admin. Well, let's not do that then. All right, I'm not seeing any chats. This one's definitely going to be recorded. We will post the recording up on the Facebook group. You guys have a good day. Hopefully we gave a little knowledge, helped you guys out. If you have any questions, you can bang me in the Facebook group. Send me a message that way, and PM, and I'll try to put together some more of these. I wanted to get both sides of the conversation, but I actually had to reformat it. My webmail client puts a lot of weird characters in it, and it took me about 15 minutes each one of these things just to make it so that we could read it, because there were dashes and crazy characters all over the place. But that's just it. So look forward to seeing you guys soon. Have a good one. This is Alan signing out.